DIY.
Tyler, the Creator, was recently on an interview with the Rap Radar podcast. One of the things that got my attention was what Tyler, the Creator, was saying about how he feels that modern day rap list, are what he quote unquote calls performative. He don't believe that y'all who are making these lists, these tier lists, especially YouTubers specifically, he don't believe that y'all believe in the list that y'all creating.
I tried to debate Tyler last night into the whole best rapper in the game, the big three. They talking about the Drake, Kendrick, Cole. He wouldn't go for it. He says,
bro,
the only
who
thing
gives a fuck? And you know what annoys me when people are like, this is my top five, and people argue it. Like, you got 17-year-olds like, yeah, like, dude, fucking Ready to Die and Enter the Wu-Tang is my top 10 album ever. I'm like, bro, you just got hair on your dick.
Analogy aside, or details aside, that's something I've always wondered about whenever I hear younger hip-hop fans. When I hear them describe the albums or the artists that they think are the best, I look and I listen, and it's not that these young music listeners can't be influenced by these legends, but I'm always wondering who had an influence on those becoming your favorites. I also wonder sometimes if people bring up names because they don't want to miss any names and have you kind of chastise them and say, oh, you don't know hip hop. If those people didn't have any kind of effect on your upbringing, if they didn't have any kind of effect on, say, if you make music, on your actual music, why are they on your list? Because they're on everybody else's list?
It's performative. It's like, that's your, and again, some people might be right, but I'm right. That's you got young boys and babies out here, and that's your favorite. Like, I don't care about people's objective top nothing. Tell me what is your favorite.
See, now I get why some younger artists may feel disconnected from some of the younger artists. Maybe they feel like they don't really relate to what they're talking about in their music. I still pull a lot of inspiration from bands in the 70s like Earth, Wind & Fire, or from the 80s like Cameo when it comes to my music. But I have no idea what it's like to be in a concert at the height of their career. I have no idea what it's like to be going through a breakup when Purple Rain came out. Even though I have some kind of a relationship with it, it's completely different than the people who actually lived through it. But the last thing that I would want to do is put someone's name in place of the music that did have an impact on me. Because it's almost like, at this point, what are you making the list for? Why are you naming these names? Is it, as Tyler said, is it just performative? Are you performing for your peers so that you can look like you're a hip-hop scholar? Do you actually listen to the people that you put on your list? No, you shouldn't be embarrassed if Project Pat is in your top 3. That's your top 3.
I don't care about people's objective top nothing. Tell me what is your favorite, because you learn so much from people. You get context. I want to know why you think Pookie Dookie's second album is your favorite.
Pookie Dookie is crazy, but that's also a really valid point. How many artists do we not dive deeper into their story, into their catalog, simply because they don't fall on popular list? I think that's the value of sharing with everybody who actually truly influenced you. A lot of these conversations are great for barbershop debates, but are we really getting the true answers of the folks who are the most influential on the listener, on the artist, or whoever's making the list? I don't think so.
Oh, I have memories attached to it. My brother did this when I was young, this and that, did that. In track 7, he talks about this. Found out I was going through it. Like, I want to hear that. I don't care about no objective. Dude, the kids be doing it with me. They do a tier list of like A, B, C, and D of the albums they like of me, and then ask people thoughts. You're asking people their thoughts on what you hold to your heart? What?
Make it make sense. Tier lists, as we've seen them when it comes to like the color-coded tier list, is something I think was really popularized by modern day YouTubers. Some people take tier lists and say, I'm going to give you my honest opinion about how these names rank up. Inevitably, it's going to come down to what's your favorite. Oh yeah, top 5, I gotta say, it's Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z. Can you name 4 Jay-Z songs? Can you name 2 off a Reasonable Doubt?
What kind of stupid shit is that? That's why I fucking hate rap Twitter, because everything's performative. Everyone is making these lists just to have people engage.
And I don't think it's all on the content creators who do that. I think also they feel pressure from consumers of their content, and they feel like almost like guilty if they don't include certain names. This is why I stopped doing videos about my top favorite YouTubers, because I make my list and people are like, it's a crime that you didn't put so-and-so on that list. For who? For who? I don't know at what point opinion and truth blurred the lines, but some people operate by that if you have your opinion, it is fact for everybody, or should be fact for everybody, or it takes away your hip-hop card.
Who gives a fuck who the top 3 is? Jamiroquai is like my favorite band. I don't know no one that talks about them, and I don't give a fuck because I enjoy it in my house and in my car. So why the fuck are we sitting here arguing about, oh, you don't got Tupac in your top 5? Nigga, no. I was fucking born when that nigga was at his peak. Like, who gives a fuck? Tell me your personal top 5, because y'all gonna just go in circles.
I think people just like reference points, and I think it always comes down to taste, right? So if you're having a conversation with someone and they say, Pharrell's whack, which is impossible, you will look at them.
It's not impossible. They might be right. They're not wrong because they grew up different.
I
don't like the Beatles. I don't like the Beatles.
But you don't think some things are absolutes?
Some things I guess could be objective, but again, even objective is subjective the way that you grew up. Some kid whose parents grew up only listening to the Beatles or fucking Alanis Morissette or some shit, who found rap through Reddit, might not understand why DJ Drama is there. We think he's cool sounding on the records. They might think it's terrible, so it's all context. So if a nigga's like, yo, Pharrell's beats are terrible, maybe he didn't grow up with the ear to understand a Stevie Wonder bridge or a Michael Jackson bridge.
See, these are the questions that I ask whenever I see like hip-hop report cards. There's a popular one here on the West Coast that's the LA Rapper Report Card, and the individual that creates this does it by region. This is what it looks like. It separates categories from lyricism, impact, cadence, flow, catalog, consistency, music video, beat selection, branding, originality, versatility, and it gives an overall grade based upon these 1 to 10 scores. My question is always this, and not just for Dejan, but anybody who creates these lists. How do you define lyricism? What is your idea of impact? When you say cadence, what do you believe cadence to be? I know if I ask 5 or 6 of my peers, they'll come back with 5 different answers. Everybody has a different definition of the categories they're judging these artists by. People just have these ridiculous takes about Pharrell is a trash producer. People will say these things to position themselves with a platform, but not everybody has the credentials to stand on that platform, in my opinion, be a voice that you should take too seriously.
I guess I can't fault folks for just not liking certain things. The thing is, I don't like when people are engaging for arguing and things like that for shit that they hold here and not even trying to give context. Like, it's such a weird thing, bro. And niggas just be wanting the funniest shit on Twitter, and it's changing the conversation of music. It's rare I see people really dive in and talk about, I don't know, the concept or their favorite line, what it means, or like, yo, I love this beat, it reminds me of this because the player did this. Like, the conversation don't matter. Kids don't even look at credits no more. I don't know. I guess I hold this shit so close to my heart, and I love music and these things so much that when it gets reduced to the top plays on fucking Spotify, kid from so-and-so saying so-and-so is greater than this, thoughts, I'm like, this isn't a conversation. This is stupid.
And this is why I understand now so much about why gatekeeping exists for certain people. When you invite different voices to speak on the culture of hip hop, who've never had an upbringing in hip hop, but who thinks it looks pretty cool, and some people look at it as a pretty cool way to make some money. And they're in a position to put money behind their messages and make it seem like the loudest voices. And sometimes people, unfortunately, look at the loudest voices as the most influential voices. It makes sense why you wouldn't want certain people to have that power. Because when certain people have that power and don't understand the effects of their words, or don't understand the toxic nature or the problematic nature of how they talk about a culture that they don't care about or that they're not a part of, it makes sense why you get some of these dumbass takes and these dumbass arguments. A lot of them are not even fans of music.
There's people like saying like, I don't like the song because it's too long. You don't like how the song sounds because of the length. Like, the conversation of music now is just fucking ridiculous. Like, I truly think it's crazy.
Music is absolutely in a very interesting place. There's a lot of factors that are influencing how they're making music because they're afraid of being left behind. They're so concerned about the retention analytic that they're creating these bite-sized pieces of music and they're not telling the whole story. If you're stopping the creative process because you're saying out loud, or you're having somebody else in the room saying it out loud that, man, you know, retention is so low, bro, you should probably make this song a lot shorter. I feel bad for us 40 years from now are going to look back at that as a dumbass decision, because a lot of these things really did not matter. They matter to us now because that's the time period we're living in, but trends are unforgiving. Ultimately, your number one goal is to be the best version of you. And what that means is only what is meaningful to you. Let the rest of us catch up. It's disappointing to see so many of my creative peers give so much energy to people who don't understand how to do what we do, because they got a platform, because they got an audience, and it's influencing our music in ways that I know at one point in time we're going to regret. But it doesn't have to be that way. The art is ultimately in your control, but what people do with it, it's not in your control. So put the art out anyways. You have a catalog to build. And though I think you shouldn't be walking around here with blinders to everything because you may miss out on great opportunities, a lot of us are dealing with analysis paralysis because we think everything that we're given from someone, even if it's their truth, is worth listening to. And that's just simply not the truth. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.